Hello, everybody. It's me, Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. It's Monday afternoon. I've got the Shapeshifter of New York. This is a great encounter that I received a while back, and I was waiting for a time to put this out. Leave a comment because in a few minutes I've been adding video background to all these encounters that I'm putting out to increase the quality of my show, make it better for all you guys. Give me a comment. Let me know what you think, how I can improve. Thank you for that. If you're new here, please subscribe to Bigfoot Michigan Rob. I know most of the people that watch these videos and on my live shows 3 days a week, I know you're subscribers already, but I'm getting close, man. 130 people I need for 5,000 subscribers, which is a keystone, a key mark, a keynote, whatever word you want to use for helping. YouTube will promote me a lot more and get it out to a bigger audience. So if you're a member, if you're a subscriber, share it out with friends and relatives, but only people that are interested in the genre. I don't want subscribers for the sake of having subscribers, okay? I really don't. Please subscribe, like the video. And really briefly, we got a great event going on coming up. I'm just going to throw up the banner right quick. We've got the Crossing Realms Conference, UFOs, Paranormal, and Cryptid, September 19th and 20th. People are already buying the tickets now, you guys. It's been live for 2 days, and this is in Richmond, Missouri. Thank you for that. Also, my books you can find on Amazon. Great Christmas presents. Type Bigfoot Michigan Rob in your Amazon browser. Please leave a review. You can find us on Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, wherever they're found. So with that said, thank you so much. Give me a like. Subscribe if not already. I am BMR, and I'm going to get on with this for you guys. Fantastic encounter. Hope y'all like it. There's my video background. I'll be popping a few in throughout this story. So thank you so much. Here we go. I never knew what my childhood friend Steven was up to. He was always getting into trouble, suspended from school, fighting mostly. He seemed odd. And most kids growing up wondered what my friendship with this outcast was. Outcast may seem like a harsh word, but parents kept their children away from him. Most of the kids felt that he was strange, and some were frightened. They were frightened of him. My name is Luke, and despite his troubles, for whatever reason, I was drawn to him. I first met Stephen in the first grade at our elementary school in upstate New York. Our school district was in Ithaca, New York, approximately 10 or 12 miles or so from the Shindagin Hollow State Forest, about 24 miles west of I-81 at Whitney Point, New York. To be honest, I myself was kind of a loner as a kid. Sure, I had friends, but they were far and few in between. I believe this to be so because of my friendship with Stephen. During our grade school years, we took turns hanging out and oftentimes spending the nights at each other's homes. Looking back, I believe both of our parents were relieved that we got along so well. My dad, however, was not a fan of Stephen's. My mom always told my dad, Jim, it is better to have one best friend than no friends at all. He kind of would just shrug his shoulders and say, I guess, but that's Stephen. He is an oddball. Mom would just raise her eyebrows at Dad and leave it at that. When Stephen and I would play, he always had a fascination with animals. Stephen loved the birds, the chipmunks, the squirrels, and other small rodents in our younger years through perhaps the fourth and fifth grades. He would try and talk with them. In fact, many of the familiar smaller rodents frequently paid him and I visits when he called out to them. You know what? They would come from the tree line right up to him looking for food. He would toss bread and sometimes hide parts of his dinner to feed the animals. It almost seemed like they had a relationship. I became kind of jealous when he spoke to the animals. It seemed like they understood him. When I tried to talk with the animals, they ignored me. They were infatuated with Stephen. Late one night at a sleepover, I joked to Stephen and I said, "So, what did our little critters say to you today?" I fully expected him to laugh and say, "Oh, Luke, we can't communicate like that." What he said next kind of gave me the chills. Just to remind you, this is the fifth grade, and Stephen told me this. He went on to tell me that the small rodents had warned he and his friend, that being me, Luke, to never go into the Shindagin Forest ever when we got old enough to go by ourselves. Steve and I had both gone several times camping with our parents, and it was always a great and fun time. I surely thought that Stephen was joking. He looked at me sternly and said we both would be in danger. I replied, "You mean to tell me that the damn squirrels and such told you this?" He solemnly looked back at me and said, "Yes, they did, Luke." I stared at my friend and I was speechless. I went home and told my parents. My mom laughed it off, while my dad told me he would not allow me to see Stephen again. Of course, my mom and dad argued. Mom telling dad that Stephen was just Mom telling dad that Stephen just has a young kid's wild imagination. Dad, however, wanted nothing to do with it. I would not see Stephen again until my 18th birthday. I did not even see Stephen in school as we moved outside of the Ithaca school district within a 1 year period. The year was 2015. I was 6 months removed from high school. Upon graduation, my mom and dad bought me an older Jeep and my first cell phone. I was not allowed a phone or a car until I successfully graduated. My dad, on graduation day, took me out to the garage and presented me the Jeep and the phone. He told me, "Son, you're a man now, and you're going to need these items for your new job." I was like, "My new job?" My school grades were very poor, and I was not smart enough for college. My dad got me a nice paying job as a laborer in the timber industry inside of the Shindagin National Forest. The same forest that my friend Stephen told me the tale of what the animals told him of the danger. It was kind of an eerie, yet a very excitable time for me. I had been working for several months in the Shindagin National Forest. When our when out of the blue on my way home, I decided to veer off my path and drive by my friend Stephen's home. Apprehensively, I drove up to the back of his house. I sat in the Jeep and wondered if Stephen would even remember me. It had been over 7 years, and as I have changed in appearance, and I'm sure that Stephen had as well. Was Stephen even here? I wondered out loud. When he stopped out to my Jeep, when he stopped out to my Jeep, stepped out of my Jeep, I automatically knew that this was different. The home seemed to be in disrepair. The plot of land was overgrown with vegetation. It looked like the field backing to the forest had not even been cut in years. This was definitely not what I remembered back during grade school. I reluctantly walked the back door and I knocked. I should say I walked to the back door and knocked. It seemed like eternity went by before the door was finally answered. Surprisingly, it was an elder woman, a very old woman. She looked at me and asked, "How may I help you?" I introduced myself and mentioned that Stephen and I were grade school friends. The older woman invited me in, feeling at ease, and offered me a soda to have a seat. She disappeared into the kitchen, then returned with a bottle of root beer. The older woman introduced herself as Ruthie, Stephen's grandmother, with Stephen's mom being her daughter. She told me that Stephen's parents had divorced when he was in the eighth grade. She went on to tell me that Stephen's dad had disappeared 2 years ago in the forest, presumed dead, while his mother had a nervous breakdown and lost her memory, almost like an advanced stage of dementia at a very much early age. And she was put into an advanced care facility. Stephen's father had a nice insurance policy along with a nice aftercare benefit policy to fund her stay. She went on to say that Stephen became dispatched with life and dropped out of school and lives out in the Shindagin National Forest almost like an animal. Only coming home a few months back to check in on his grandmother from time to time. Would the grandmother see Stephen? My mind is ablaze with all sorts of questions. I believe at this point to be in a state of shock and confusion upon hearing all of this. Then, oddly enough, the old woman took me to sit and wait. She told me that Stephen can sense his presence. Bewildered, I stepped back to ask what she meant by all this. When the back door swung open, and there stood Stephen. At first, I could not recognize him. He was much taller than I. He had long brown hair, a long beard, and was very muscular. He recognized me immediately. He came to me and extended out his hand, which I must say, he was barely clothed and as dirty as dirt can be. The smell of his body almost made me want to vomit. I reached out for his hand, long fingers and long nails extruded from the flanges. Those nails had not been clipped in ages and were sharpened to an exact point on each digit. He motioned me to go outside, not speaking a word. Then he broke his silence. I see that you're a logger in the Shindagin National Forest. I asked, how do you know this? He said that he looks in upon me every day while I'm at work. He asked me if I remember the story of the danger in the Shindagin. I replied back, yes. You made up that story that you communicated with the animals and that they told you that. He assured me that, in fact, they did speak to him. He went on to tell me that he speaks to all the creatures of the forest. Before I had time to further ask questions, he turned to me and said, I must go now, as I am being called. Luke, my friend, I will always be watching over you in the Shindagin National Forest. It is full of danger for you. With that said, he turned around and walked toward the tree line. Then he dropped to all fours and started kind of running like an animal. He picked up great speed. If my eyes were not playing tricks on me, he transformed into a wolf and disappeared into the tree line. Moments later, I heard a thunderous howl from the edge of the woods. I stood and I stared. Stephen's grandmother came out and told me this. You and Stephen are forever bound, and Stephen, my grandson, he is your servant. I still do this day work, my job in the Shindagin, but I have not seen Stephen again. But assuredly, I hear his howls from time to time. He is out there and he looks after me. Wow, you guys, I tell you what, I believe in shapeshifters. Steven, for whatever reason, is protecting Luke. What's he protecting Luke from, you guys? I don't really know what it could be. Maybe he can foresee Luke's future in a strange and odd way. He protects him, he watches him. I thought it was a cool story, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. Please like, share, and please subscribe. Please subscribe. Share this with friends. Don't forget, Crossing Realms Conference, UFOs, Paranormal and Cryptid, September 19th and 20th, the Eagleton Civic Center, West Royal Street, Richmond, Missouri. Again, we have all the links in all of our shows, how you can get tickets. We have a lot of great speakers, a lot of great speakers. We have a live ghost hunt. It's going to be a fantastic time. I'm Bigfoot Michigan Rob. Thank you ever so much. On to 5,000 subscribers. Please, everybody, enjoy the rest of your day. I am BMR. See you Tuesday night at 9 with Krista.